morning, Randy. How you doing, man?
Great. Marching season is pretty much done, I think, for most areas on the globe, but we're in that Thanksgiving week. And, as we reflect on everything, and the key word is reflect, I know I used to use this time, and I'm sure you did too, after marching season was over and we're making that transition to really focusing on indoor activities with our concert bands and our ensembles to really kind of reflect on the season. Think about the things we're thankful for, which hopefully there are a lot of those things, especially coming out of COVID the past couple of years, lots to be thankful for. I think, the crowds this year were tremendous at every event that I judged. Crowds were enthusiastic. I think groups in a lot of ways were much better, considering what they've been through. But just really kind of thinking about, what do we keep and what do we let go of? And not necessarily always thinking about changing something, but thinking about, what process do we use? And does the process need to change, or does the staff or the design need to change? And I think a lot of times, and Richard, I think you would agree with this, a lot of times directors go right to that easiest thing, which is, oh, we should probably just change directions with our staff. But they're not really looking at the most important thing, which is the processes that we've laid out, how we do rehearsals, how we recruit, how we do X, Y, Z, the things that really do make a huge difference. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, Randy, people can have the best staff in the world, but if you're not following a good plan, and if you don't have a good organized approach to how you're going to use the staff and how you're all going to be on the same page when you're in front of kids, or when you're even preparing the show, you're going to end up wanting, I think, in a lot of areas. So don't forget, directors, that your staff members do work very, very hard, and they're trying to please you. They're trying to be the best that they can be for the kids. So before you make all kinds of changes in staff members, make sure that you are looking, as Randy mentioned, about your process, and ask yourself, is the process working? Or do we need to kind of rethink how we do things? And don't be afraid to sit down with your staff, and talk about what happened in the season. I mean, we have so many full staff meetings, right? Before and during the season. Well, let's have one after the season. Let's sit down and talk with everyone and say, what really just happened? What are the great things? What are the things we're thankful for? Like you said, Randy, what are the things we need to rethink as we get ready for next year? And you might find that the staff is really on the same page, and it's just a matter of adjusting the process a bit.
Yeah, and I think one of the most powerful things you can do is to have conversations with people that have either seen your group or have, worked with them on occasion, and just use those folks as resources. I know you did this, I did this. A lot of times I didn't know what the next step was going to be. So having somebody that's totally impartial, just take a look at what you've done and say, we're going to help you find your blind spots. I think everybody has blind spots. I had plenty of them. I'm sure you realized you did too.
Of course.
Just having somebody come in and whether it's a phone conversation or a video conference or even an in-person visit, and just look at things with you and say, that's totally impartial, that can offer some advice, or just, if nothing else, a different perspective. Because a lot of times we get trapped in our perspective, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think sometimes having someone from the outside that doesn't live with it every day the way we do, and maybe has been watching us over the year or whatever, they may make a couple comments that immediately click in your mind, or a light bulb goes off and you're like, never thought of it that way. And so absolutely, seek advice. Randy, as directors, one of our goals is to always just keep getting better, right? We want our kids to get better. We want our programs to get better, but we also want to get better as teachers. And you got to get out of that comfort zone to do that. And you got to listen to what maybe some other experienced people think about what you're doing, and that might help steer you in the right direction for the next season.
Yep. So action steps between now and Christmas, directors out there, is to reflect, have conversations, renew, because that's important too for your own social emotional learning and health, and then make the necessary revisions that you feel like you need to make going into the next calendar year to continue to get better and to grow.
Yep, and directors, before we go here, I will just say that, and Randy, I know you agree with this because you and I have judged in the same places a couple times this year. Directors, you guys have killed it. You really have. The improvement in groups is just tremendous this year over last year, and especially coming out of COVID. So you have a lot to celebrate, no matter how the season ended up competitively. You guys really are killing it out there. So thank you for all you do for kids, for your program, and don't forget the difference that you're making in the lives of all these kids.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, Richard. Appreciate everyone being with us this morning, and we'll see you next week on another version of Tuesday Morning Coffee Talk. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Thanks, Randy. See you all soon.
Yep.